Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today we are continuing our Godzilla series, which is the Monsterverse, because tomorrow Godzilla vs. Kong hits HBO Max, and I'm watching it tomorrow morning. I'll have that video uploaded as soon as I can tomorrow. Let's see, it's probably likely like 2 hours long, say probably around noon it'll be up. So make sure you guys are looking forward to that. I know I am. But today we're going to talk about the third movie in the Monsterverse, and that is Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Godzilla, King of the Monsters was released in 2019. It was written by Michael Dougherty and Zach Shields, and directed by Michael Dougherty. So, for those of you who don't know, I do non-spoiler reviews now, so from now on it's non-spoilery, unless you guys want a spoiler review, in which case drop down the comments down below. Alright, cool, awesome. This picks up shortly-ish after Godzilla, also after the events of Kong, Skull Island. This may contain some spoilers for Godzilla and Kong, Skull Island, but those are two previous movies. I'm assuming you've seen them before. Essentially what happens is we realize the government has knowledge of all of these monsters, right? They're like, oh, this one. They even mention Kong a little bit, which, I think got viewers excited back then. I had not seen it, so this is my first time. And essentially what we see here is a family, albeit not a very good family, is trying to help figure out whether or not they should kill the monsters or just let Godzilla kill them. And I'm not going to tell you which family decides to do what or whatever, but through a series of events, we get to see this giant, basically hour and 45-minute long fight between, Godzilla, the government, and all of these monsters. So, that sounded like a really good description, right? It was a great description for a really bad movie. So let me just start easing into what my thoughts on the film. First of all, the special effects are pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, they're pretty good. I don't actually think they were as good as Godzilla was in 2014. I actually think that it looked a little bit better in Godzilla than it did in King of the Monsters. I don't really know why. It just kind of didn't seem as real to me. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that he was faster. We could see these shots where he's running through the streets like Super Saiyan Godzilla, and I'm like, I don't remember him being able to do that in the first one because it was so slow. But then they mention, always getting stronger, and it's like, yeah, but I liked it when it felt huge, right? It felt great. A lot of the times that we see Godzilla in this isn't from a down perspective, right? It's called a low angle, right? Is when we look up to see what is happening on the screen. We see a lot of this from a far away place at a straight angle. So he doesn't look as towering and as vicious and as big, really, as he did in the first film. That isn't necessarily a negative, but kind of is. Because this is a Godzilla movie, right? I want to feel the stakes. It looked like a bunch of really, really big monsters are fighting the city. Great. But it didn't feel like it. Which is a big problem. And that's one of the big things that I had with the cinematography, really. But in terms of special effects, the Godzilla just didn't look as good. And they had a bunch of other monsters that also didn't look pretty great. The three-headed dragon was pretty cool, I'm not going to lie to you. But like this weird, flying insect did not look very good. And there's a couple other ones that I had issues with. And it's not even a problem. I'm not judging the film purely on special effects. But I didn't particularly like them as much as Godzilla, which is a problem because this is 5 years later. Which I actually do believe the film is set 5 years later after Godzilla, now I think about it. The real tragedy of this movie is the characters. Okay? So, in Godzilla, we had this lovely character setting, right? Where we had, Bryan Cranston's character, and we had, Aaron Johnson's character. Really interesting characters with Scarlet Witch, with Elizabeth Olsen, who, it developed a really nice relationship with us, right? We're we want them to succeed, we like them a lot. In this movie, none of that, really. There's a little bit, right? Because we have Millie Bobby Brown, and we like Millie Bobby Brown, and of course Vera Farmiga, and we're like, okay, well, we like them, but we don't like them because of their character, right? We root for them because we know we're supposed to, because that's the movie, but it just didn't feel any emotional connection almost at all to these characters. Right from the beginning, we're like, okay, it's not a great family, but we like them anyway because they're not the monsters, and it's like it frustrates me to no end because the first one was so good. The first Godzilla movie was really, really fun. I'm going to watch it again at some point. It's so good. I had so much fun, but a lot of that had to do with the fact that I really liked the army setting, and I really liked the family setting, and it felt really good to root for them. Like, yes, go Godzilla, go army. And in this one, I didn't give two craps about any of the characters, including Godzilla, really, at this point, because there's so much to take care of. And right from the beginning, I think it's at like minute 15, they start the fight, and it's like, whoa, there was no setup for this, right? Which I guess is kind of the point, because I didn't have a whole lot of time to react. But for me, the audience, I'm like, I am not connected to these characters at all. I don't care if they die. Like, this is one part in the very beginning where like one of the main characters was about to die, and I'm like, okay, doesn't bother me at all. But in Godzilla, when one of the main characters did die, I lost it because we felt that connection, right? And I wish that it had brought that to the screen, right? Because in the first Godzilla movie, which was really well done, we had really great characters and really great Godzilla, right? Both of them were so perfect. I was like, yes, this is a great movie. There were some issues with it, sure, but it was a great movie. This one, not. I had no emotional connection, literally at all, to any of the characters, or even to Godzilla at this point, or the monsters. And the fight sequences aren't very interesting. A lot of it's just dropping bombs. And it's like, I want to see Godzilla, like, murder these people, right? Like, there's a lot of issues with it. There really isn't a whole lot good about the film, except for some of the acting, which, let's get into that right now. Starting with Kyle Chandler as Dr. Mark Russell. We don't really know anything about this guy except that he left the family that he was with, right? That's like really all we know about. He works in like the army setting. He's not a great character. He's very dull, very boring. Nothing matters to this guy, right? He's very army steel plate kind of guy. I forget the stock characters. He's a very big stock character, right? He's like, oh, I'm an army guy of some sort, and you're like, okay. And like, again, I didn't care about the guy at all. It's a big problem. I don't even know if it was necessarily his fault. It could have been just the writing's fault. I just didn't like him, and therefore I do have to blame at least some of it on him. Not a very great character. I don't think very great acting either. I've never seen him in anything before. I don't really care to see him again. I just wasn't interested. Vera Farmiga as Dr. Emma Russell. I, in general, like Vera Farmiga. In this, I think she did fine. I didn't have an issue really with her acting, but her character, again, is very underdeveloped. There's nothing interesting about these characters. There really, really isn't. And I had such a hard time focusing on them. And then in the end, I'm not going to tell you what happens, it's spoilery, but something happens to her at the end, and I'm like, why? Why? What happened? Like, it doesn't make any sense in any way, shape, or form. Like, why does she have to... I don't get it. Her acting's fine. I didn't really have an issue with it. I had a very big issue with the writing. Really, I really did. Millie Bobby Brown as Madison Russell. This was like the one character, besides the next one I'll talk about, that I actually kind of liked. And I don't think it's because I liked her character. I just really like Millie Bobby Brown. Which is a problem, but it is a good thing for Millie Bobby Brown. So, there you go. I don't care for the character very much. There's this one scene in like towards the middle end of the film that I actually kind of liked with her character, and I was like, hey, there's a little bit of backstory, there's a little bit of fun stuff that's going on, and then it didn't really matter. Nothing really was brought up until the very end of the movie, and then it was like, okay, well, we have to end the movie somehow. How do we do it? And the end of the movie, and I was like, okay, that was dumb, but whatever. I think that her character wasn't very great. I think it was more developed than others, and I really liked her in general. I did like Millie Bobby Brown in this movie. Ken Watanabe as Dr. Aishiro Serizawa. It's hard to pronounce. He was in the first Godzilla movie, and I liked him a lot. I don't think I mentioned him in my review because he wasn't like a huge character, but he's a big character in this one, a very big character. And he is in like two of the main scenes that I actually like in this film. I actually like two scenes, and he was in both of them. He is great. I really appreciate his work here. I really, really do. I like him a lot. I think he's even higher level in this film than he is in the next one. This is a very big thing for me. I really like him a lot. It's extremely unlikely to see him again, but I do like him a lot. I think it's not fair to the movie, though, because his character development was not in this movie. His main character development was actually in the first Godzilla. and then it moves into this one, and it's like it's exhausting. Like, I'm like, okay, this is the only character I have connection to, and then we don't really see a whole lot of him, and it's like, come on, it's really a problem. But I think it sums up my my thoughts on the movie. I think overall it could have been way, way, way better. The special effects weren't great. The character arcs were non-existent. None of it was good. And I really did not enjoy watching this movie. And I'm going to have to give Godzilla, King of the Monsters, a C+. It's highly unfortunate because I really liked Godzilla. I'm hoping Godzilla vs. Kong can rein it back in and understand that it's about the characters, which I have some hope. It seems pretty interesting. I do like Kong a little bit. I don't think he's better than Godzilla. In terms of making a prediction as to who's going to win, honestly, if I know anything about movies, there's a good chance there's just going to be another battle, and it'll be Godzilla vs. Kong for a bit, and then either they'll solve Godzilla's problem, and then they'll both be fine, or they'll find one neutral target, and they have to come together, and then none of them will die. But if one of them does fall, I kind of expect it to be Godzilla, because we do have more of a connection to Godzilla, and it would affect the audience more if he were to go. Plus, there hasn't been a Kong sequel yet. I suppose we'll see. I don't really have many expectations for the movie. I am looking forward to it. I'm excited to see what they do. But in terms of expectations, they're low. But that's going to do it for me today. Thank you guys for watching. Please consider subscribing. What did you guys think of Godzilla, King of the Monsters? Drop down the comments down below. I'd love to read them. I'd love to know what you guys thought. And as always, keep watching movies and television. Stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.